All right, and I just wanted to say welcome to everyone. I'm George. I'm the instructional designer and online educator here at VoiceThread. The plan for today is to go over all of the VoiceThread basics. I'm going to show you how everything works in your ASU Learn Moodle course, and I'll show you a variety of examples along the way. If you have questions, you can put them in the chat in the Go to Training Control panel, or you can feel free to unmute your mic and jump in to ask. All right, so before we dive into the fun stuff, I just wanted to show you some resources that are available. So what you're looking at on the screen right now is my VoiceThread homepage. And I have this set to view the basic tutorials. These are available in every account, whether you're a faculty or a student, and you can get there through this 3-bar menu on the homepage. This is where you can filter your homepage view. And as you can see, I have mine set to view the tutorials. There's also the blue help tab down here in the bottom right. And this is where you can find written instructions to anything you need. So if you wanted to see how things work in your Moodle instance, you can search by keyword and find the help documentation for faculty, students, or administrators there. And there are step-by-step written instructions to everything you need. So the blue help tab is always the first place to go whenever you have any questions. You can also contact our support team through this About menu. There's a contact page there, and you can check out the research that's been done on VoiceThread and visit our blog to see guest posts from educators around the world who are using VoiceThread in their classes. And next to that is our training menu where you can sign up for our free workshops. So we do offer free workshops throughout the year, every month. You're welcome to sign up for as many as you like, or you can view the archives from the right-hand side of the page. And finally, on the left-hand side of my homepage, you can see the groups and courses panel. So these course groups are created automatically whenever you configure any of the different types of links in your ASU Learn course. And I'm going to talk a little more about some of the other things that happen automatically when we get into the Moodle portion. But I wanted to start off just by talking about what VoiceThread is. So we're going to spend some more time on these examples in a little while, but I just wanted to leaf through them briefly so you can see what VoiceThreads look like. Now, these are all very different use cases for VoiceThread, but what you'll notice is they all have the same basic structure. There's some type of slide content, and there's a place for comments. So to give you a definition for VoiceThread from a technical perspective, a VoiceThread is an asynchronous multimedia slideshow that allows you to have a discussion with your students on any slides that you like. From a more conceptual standpoint, I always describe VoiceThread as a virtual classroom, meaning that whatever you do in a face-to-face class, you can do on VoiceThread, whether that's some type of direct instruction, class discussions, announcements, student presentations, various assessment types. And we'll get into all of those examples in just a little while. I want to show you how to create one first. So the first type of link I'm going to show you how to add in ASU Learn is a link to the VoiceThread homepage. Right now, I mentioned a number of reasons why I recommend it already: the help documentation and the other resources. But you can also go there to create VoiceThreads before you're ready to share them with your class. So if I click on the Create tab, I can create a VoiceThread. And the first step is to add my media. So I need to figure out what do I want to have as my slide content. So if I click Add Media, you'll see there are 6 different ways to bring slide content into the VoiceThread. Now I'm going to go through my computer and upload some files that I have saved, and I'm going to create a lecture. But before I do that, I just want to give you a quick tour of the other options so you know what's available. The second one down is the media sources. And if I click on this, you'll see that I can bring in slides and or comments from other VoiceThreads that I've already created. I can bring in images from Flickr's Creative Commons licensed image database. I can connect my Google account to my VoiceThread account and import any content that I have in my Google Drive. And we also have the New York Public Library's public domain database of images. All right, so that's all through the media sources. These two in the middle, I wouldn't worry too much about. The audio recording is for an audio only slide. So that's primarily used by podcasters. The next one is the webcam photo, which is basically a selfie slide. However, after that, you'll see the webcam video. And I'm going to show you a few examples of instructors who use this pretty effectively. You can record directly from your webcam into your VoiceThread as a video slide. And finally, there's the URL option. So if I click on this, I can paste a YouTube link here and click save, and that will import that YouTube video into my VoiceThread as a video slide. All right, but I'm going to go through my computer. So if I click on my computer, I can go into my files, and let's say I teach a course on journalism. So I'm going to bring in some files I have, and these can be all different types of files: images, documents, PowerPoints, movie files, whatever you want. And as they're processing, it'll ask you to give the VoiceThread a title. So I'm going to call this Journalism 101, and let's say this is Lecture 1. I click Save. Now, I can always go in to add more media from any of these sources, and I can also rearrange the order of the slides just by dragging and dropping them where I want them. All right, but if I'm happy with what I have now, I'm ready to move on to my second and final step, which is to comment. So I click comment, and that opens the VoiceThread up in the media player. So now I can record whatever it is I have to say. I can click on the plus sign and choose from one of 5 commenting options: text, telephone, audio, webcam, or file upload. So let's say I want to record audio. I click on the microphone, and now I'm recording. The red light is blinking, the timer has started, and whenever you record an audio or webcam comment, you will see the doodle tool. This, if you click on it, you can choose different colors, and you can decide if you want the drawings to fade or not. So I'm going to keep it set to fade, but I'm going to change to red. All right, and now I can annotate on the slide however I like, just like if I was using a laser pointer or a marker on a dry erase board. All right, and when I'm done saying whatever it is I have to say here, I can click stop recording. It'll process my comment and play it back for me, and I can choose to cancel, save, or record more. Boom. And now I'm recording. All right, so that sounds good. I click save, and my comment for slide 1 appears in the conversation channel. And now I can navigate to my second slide, and I can record whatever it is I have to say here. So once again, I click on the plus sign, I'm going to click on the microphone, and I want to change the color just because it's a darker slide. So I'm going to change to white, but I can annotate however I like once again. All right, and when I'm done, I click stop, and then once again, I can cancel, save, or record more. Microphone. All right, that sounds good. And you can see my comment for slide 2 appears in the conversation channel for slide 2. And now I can continue on through the rest of my slides and record the rest of my lecture. All right, so before we move into the Moodle stuff, I just wanted to pause here to see if we had any questions about the creation process. Is there anything that I showed you that doesn't quite click, or something that you were hoping to see about creating a VoiceThread that I didn't show? All right, yeah, sorry. So I can record, I can make a text comment here. Right, the telephone option is really a backup. You can click on this, put in your phone number, and you'll get an automated call from VoiceThread, and you can record your comment. The webcam works in a very similar way to the microphone. So I'm a little backlit right now, so you probably won't see me very well in the camera, but I'll show you how this works. All right, so I can say whatever it is I have to say, stop and save. All right, and the final one is the upload. So I can upload an audio or video file, and that will be saved as a comment too. All right, no problem. I don't see any other questions right now, so let's get into the Moodle stuff. Before I show you the where to click, I just want to give you a quick overview about how the integration works. So there are 6 different types of links you can add. 3 of them are non-graded and 3 of them are graded. The non-graded types would be a link to the VoiceThread homepage, and that's the first one I'm going to show you for all of those reasons I mentioned earlier. There's the course view link, and this is the one that will take you right into that course group. So it basically saves you a click from the homepage. Then there's the individual VoiceThread option, and this is the one that I consider like the bread and butter type of link. This is what you use anytime you want to share a VoiceThread with your class, as long as it's not a graded assignment. So any lectures, non-graded discussions, announcements, reviews, any of that stuff would be shared as an individual VoiceThread. All right, and then we have the 3 graded assignment types. The create assignment, where you're asking the students to create a VoiceThread for some type of presentation or demonstration. The comment assignment, where you're asking the students to comment a specific number of times on a VoiceThread that you share with them. And this is typically used for graded discussions or some other type of assessment. And then finally, there's the watch assignment. And this is really an alternative to the individual VoiceThread option. So let's say I wanted to share a lecture, but I want to track who's watched the whole thing. I can share that as a watch assignment. Now, there's no interaction with the watch assignment, but um, the the program will track who's watched it, and if the student has seen the whole thing, they will receive the grade. If they do not watch the whole thing, it will let them know what they missed, and then they can go back and complete it. All right. Now, I mentioned that a whole course group is created automatically, and there are a few other things that happen automatically as well. When a student clicks on any of these links, if they've never used VoiceThread previously, it will automatically create their account, it will sign them into their account, and it will add them as a member of the course group. So students don't need to go out and sign up for an account on their own, pick a password, any of that stuff. They just come into your course, they click on the link, and all of that stuff happens automatically. All right. And Katie, I do see your question. Yeah. So that's the watch assignment. All right. But let's see how to add this stuff. So let's say I wanted to add a VoiceThread homepage link. The process is going to be the same for all of these. I click on add an activity or resource. All right. And then I'm going to find VoiceThread here in that list, and I'll click on it. I'll give it a title, call this VT Home. And I'm going to click Select Content. And that's going to load my configuration menu. So here's where I can decide what I want this link to be. So I have the 3 non-graded options, and then the 3 graded assignment types are tucked away behind the assignment builder. So let's say I want to make this a homepage link. I click on the homepage button. It will fill in the title for me, and then I click Publish. All right, and that brings me back to my Moodle menu where I can save and display or save and return to course. All right, so from the student perspective, they come in here to your course, they click on that homepage link, we'll pop it open in a new tab, and it will sign them into their account, and it will load their VoiceThread homepage. All right, so from here, they can get to those tutorials, they can access the help documentation, contact support, and as I showed, you can also go here to create VoiceThreads before you're ready to share. All right, so when a student clicks on it, it will load their homepage. When you click on it, it will load your homepage. All right, now let's say I wanted to add a lecture. All right, so I'm going to go into, let's say, my topic 1 module. I click on add an activity or resource. I find VoiceThread in the list and click on it. I give this a title. Let's call it lecture 1. Then I click select content. And once again, that will bring up my configuration menu. Hold on one moment. All right, so I want this to be an individual VoiceThread. So I'm going to click individual VoiceThread, and it's going to load a list of all of my VoiceThreads here. All right, and I can find the one that I want to add and click on it, and then continue. All right, now it's going to give me a chance to make any changes to the slides. I can add more slides, delete, whatever I want to do. But if I'm happy with what I have, I just click continue. Right now, it'll give me a chance to add more comments, delete comments, whatever I want, but I'm just going to continue. And now I can decide on some playback settings. So when I opened up the commenting fan earlier, you saw there were 5 ways to comment, but maybe I don't want my students to use all 5. So I can uncheck the ones that I don't want them to use. And now these 2 will be the only 2 they see in the comment fan. I can also decide if I want them to add slides to the voice thread. I can enable threaded commenting, and I'll show you what this looks like in just a little bit. But threaded commenting is just a way to reply to individual commenters. All right, and then I can also enable comment moderation. This is really used more in the comment assignment. What comment moderation does is it makes all of your incoming comments hidden. So the students cannot see or hear each other's answers to a question that you might ask. So that's typically used more for assessments. All right, now I can limit the length of their comment if I want. I can set this to anything I like up to 60 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds, whatever I like. I can have this automatically play when it's opened. I can have it auto advance to the next slide when my comments are done playing. And then we have some additional permissions. I can allow students to download the slides on my voice thread. I can allow them to convert my voice thread to a video file and save it on their computer. And I can also allow them to make a copy if I want. So I usually leave these 3 unchecked, but they're there if you need them. And then I can click continue, check the name, and I publish. And then I can save and return to course or save and display. All right, I do see a question from Star. Is the upload option only for audio and video files like you mentioned before, or can you upload a document? Yeah, no, it's only for audio or video files. All right, now let's say I'm a student. I come into the course. I click on that lecture, and it's going to load that voice thread in the media player, and the students can listen to what you had to say. They can record their own comments if they have questions and continue on through your lecture. All right, so that's how to add the non-graded stuff. What I want to do now is show you a few examples of types of voice threads that you might create and share that way. So in this example, if you remember when I was creating it, I had the option to record directly from my webcam. And that's what you see here. This instructor created an introduction on VoiceThread. So this is a very short VoiceThread. It's only 1 slide. She could have added more to this. She could have had a PowerPoint after this or images or anything else she wanted, but she just wanted to keep this short and sweet. So she recorded her intro and then the students record theirs. Now, there's 2 things I want you to note here. I'm going to play a little bit of this for you, but before I do, number 1 is that you're watching a screen share of my screen through GoToTraining to your screen. So you're probably going to see the video lag behind the audio a little bit on your view. Don't worry, that's not how it actually looks on my computer. More importantly, focus on the nonverbal communication. So imagine if this teacher had tried to do this introductory activity as a text discussion. She's going to miss out, and her students are going to miss out on all of that nonverbal communication. The facial expressions, the body language, the hand gestures, all of that stuff is missing, but she brings that back in because she's using VoiceThread.
Hi class, welcome to Tool File Technology for Kinesiology. I hope you have lots of experience in kines. I hope you have lots of experience in technology, but just in case you don't, by the time you finish with this class, you certainly will feel comfortable with technology in kinesiology. So the first thing we're going to do is participate in my little voice thread here.
All right, so I'm going to stop her there, but she goes on to tell her students to click on the plus sign and record their intros, and that's what you see in the conversation channel here. So I'm going to play a few seconds of the student comment just so you can see how it looks. While I play it, I want you to notice that I can grab the corner of the comment bubble to expand it or minimize it, and I could also move it around the screen if I want.
Hi, my name is Andrea, and I'm an exercise science major. I chose this major because I like the idea of keeping yourself healthy and active and finding new ways to do that through what you love to do. I actually
All right, so you can see how the teacher can welcome the students into the class, the students can engage with each other, and this teacher has gone a long way to establishing that social presence that's so important in online courses. All right, and Star, I do see your question. Yes, I will show you an example with captioning in just a minute. But first, I want to show you another voice thread that's kind of a beginning of the semester type of voice thread. This is one where the instructor uploaded his syllabus. So you can see it's a 3-slide voice thread because it's a 3-page document. Now I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. And before I play this, there's one other feature I want to show you. Next to the play controls, there's this 1x. That is the speed control. So if I click on this, I can choose to speed up or slow down the comment if I want. So I'm going to speed him up to 1.35 times as fast. And as I play this, I just want you to notice how he's going to use that doodle pencil to annotate the document as he talks through it.
Welcome to HSES 380, Sociology of Sport for the summer of 2014. I'll be your instructor. We're going to go through the syllabus right here and talk about some of the more important parts of class for the introduction and what you can expect as we go along. Right up here is my contact info. I'm circling it for you right there.
All right, so I'm going to stop him there. But if I scrub along the timeline, you'll see he continues to go on to annotate the document as he talks through it. All right, now this next one is more of a standard use case during the semester. This is a lecture. So this instructor uploaded a PowerPoint. You can see it's a 16-slide presentation. Now, as a pro tip, we always recommend exporting your PowerPoint or Keynote, if you're a Mac user, as a PDF and then uploading it as a PDF. You can upload a raw PowerPoint or Keynote file directly to VoiceThread, but you might notice some unusual formatting, some text may shift around or something like that. So we always recommend exporting it as a PDF and then uploading the PDF, and that's what this instructor did. So this lecture happens to be for a business law class, but this could be a lecture in any class, right? This could be your PowerPoint here, and this could be you popping out from the conversation channel to deliver your lecture.
Welcome to our voice thread on legal opinions. The legal opinions are not written primarily for the purpose of telling a lay audience a story about a case in the way that I typically do in class. The legal opinion itself, the case text, is written to teach a professional audience how the law will apply. Because there's a very different...
All right, so I'm going to stop him there, but if I go forward to the next slide, you see there's more comments, and if the students had questions, they could just click on the plus sign and record them. All right, now this next one is a discussion. So this is one that we have in our VoiceThread Certified Educator course. So I facilitate the course. All of the participants here are faculty members, instructional designers, administrators, and we're having kind of a meta discussion. This is an online discussion about online discussions and how to improve them. So I start this off with the prompt.
All right, so I'm going to leave a link to a blog post that we wrote right after this, and it's about shallow student comments that lead to kind of dead-end conversations.
All right, so you can see that my comment has been captioned, and that's because I have the automatic captions turned on as part of my license. You have the automatic captions turned on as well, so there's nothing you need to do to get the captions to show up. You just record your comments, and within about 5 minutes, they'll be captioned. But you can go to edit them if you like. So you can go into the comment bubble and click on that CC icon. And then you can click Edit Captions. You can play the comment.
All right, so I'm going to leave a link to a blog post that we wrote right after this.
You can make any edits that you need and then save the captions. All right, now one other thing I want to draw your attention to is the different shapes in the comment bubble here. So you can see there are squares and there are circles. The squares are just normal standard VoiceThread comments where someone comes into the VoiceThread, they listen to my prompt, they click on the plus sign, and they record their thoughts. The circles are those threaded replies. So let's say I'm listening to Stacy and I want to respond to her. I can click on the arrow in her comment bubble and record a reply directly for her.
Hi there. Thank you so much for this topic. This is Stacy. I appreciate this.
All right, so I see the arrow. I can click on it. It will insert my identity image into the conversation channel where it belongs. connect it to hers by a thread, and then I can record whatever it is I have to say to Stacy. Other students can join in, she can reply back, and we can have our own little side conversation there. All right, so those are the non-graded examples. A non-graded discussion, lecture, some type of document or syllabus review, and introductions, announcements, those sorts of things. Before I move into the graded stuff, do we have any questions about any of the features that I've shown so far, any of the examples that I've shown? All right, excellent. Thanks, Star. All right, well, if we don't have questions right now, let's move into the graded stuff. All right, so the process is basically the same. Let's say I wanted to add an assignment into my week 2 here. So I'm going to click add an activity or resource. I'm going to find VoiceThread and click on it. I'm going to give this a name. Now, let's say this is going to be one of those watch assignments where I'm just tracking who's watched the whole VoiceThread. So this is something that you would use usually if, let's say, you're going to add a video and you want the students to watch the video, and you don't really need interaction for this. You just want to see who's watched the whole thing. This is like an online attendance, right? So I'm going to call this one video 2. I'm going to go to my grading area and set the points possible here. So let's say this is just going to be worth 5 points. And then I click select content. That will load the configuration menu. I'm going to go into the assignment builder because I want gradebook column created in my course. So I click assignment builder and I can see the 3 different assignment types. I'm going to go to the watch assignment and then continue. All right, now I'm going to find the VoiceThread that I want them to watch. And note this message here: selecting an existing VoiceThread will make a copy of it for use in this assignment. So I'm not actually sharing the original that's on my homepage. I'm sharing the copy that's going to be made as soon as I click continue. So I click continue and I can see my slides. I can edit them if I need. Click continue. I can make any changes to the comments, delete a comment, record a new one. Click continue. And now these are just the same settings we already saw. I can have this start playing when opened. I can have it auto advance, and then we have those additional permissions. Exactly, Katie. Yeah, when you make changes, it'll just change the copy, the one that I'm sharing now. I click continue. I can add my instructions. I can pick a start date for when students can first submit the assignment. I can add a due date. All right, now students can submit after the due date. It will just show up as submitted late in the grading interface, and it will be highlighted in red so you can't miss it. But now I can also add a close date. So let's say I want to turn this assignment off and no longer allow submissions at a certain point. I have a due date of November 29th, and I can add a close date. Let's say I'm going to give them 1 day to submit it late, and then I click publish. All right, and that brings me back to my Canvas menu. And then I can save and return to course or save and display. All right, now the next type I want to show you is the comment assignment. So let's say I'm going to go to add an activity or resource, VoiceThread, give it a name. Let's call this one quiz 1. I'm going to go to the grading area, and let's say this is worth 50 points. I select content. That brings me to the same configuration menu that we've already seen. I click on assignment builder, and I'm going to go to the comment assignment. All right, now I can find the VoiceThread that I want them to comment on. All right, now once again, remember, selecting an existing VoiceThread makes a copy, so I won't see any comments on the original on my homepage because that original is not being shared. What's being shared is this copy that I'm making right now. All right, so I click continue. I can make any changes to the title here. Let's call this quiz 1 and add new slides if I need, right? Click continue, continue. And now these are the same settings we saw for the individual voice thread, except up top there are 2 new ones. I can decide how many comments will be required. So if this is a graded discussion, let's say maybe I'm going to go with 3, and I can have this be a minimum number, a maximum number, or an exact number of comments. So for a discussion, you'd probably go with minimum so the students can continue to discuss after they've reached that minimum, or they could choose to submit it. For a quiz, let's say maybe it's a 10-question quiz, maybe I'll go with exact for that one. If I ask 10 questions, I'm expecting 10 answers. All right, now I can decide which comment types will be allowed once again. And for a discussion, usually you want to have threaded commenting turned on. I keep this turned on for all of my voice threads just because it enables for more back and forth discussion with the commenters. But for a quiz, I want to have comment moderation turned on. And if you remember from earlier, comment moderation makes all of the incoming comments from your students hidden. You can see and hear all of them, but the students cannot see or hear each other. All right, I can limit the length of the comments once again if I want to. I can have this automatically open and go to the next slide. And then I continue. I can add my instructions. I can pick a start date and a due date for this. All right, now I can also decide to make this assignment contingent on them completing that previous assignment that I made. So let's say I made a watch assignment that was a video, and I wanted them to watch that whole thing before taking this quiz. I can do that by checking this box and selecting which assignment I want them to have seen. So I see that video 2 assignment, I check that and I select. And now if the students go to take this quiz before they've completed that video assignment, it will not let them start the quiz. They'll have to go back, do that other assignment first. Once it's complete, they can then take the quiz. All right, and now I can decide if I want them to be able to resubmit the assignment. So for the quiz, I won't allow that. And then how do I want to grade this? As a percentage of the total points, as a complete, incomplete, or straight point value? I'm going to go with straight points, make this worth 50, and then publish. All right, and that brings me back here where I can save and return to course or save and display. All right, so a few examples. You can create that discussion, right? When you can set a certain number of comments students have to make, but you can also do stuff like this where you have a simple question on the slide and the students have to respond.
Hello everyone, it's Henry again. This is such a fun way to use the Doodle tool. I'm gonna go for C. Yes, it's also green and it stands out as the correct.
All right, now remember, you can have whatever you want on this slide. So this, let's say you teach a language class. This could be a paragraph written in French and you want the students to read it aloud so you can evaluate their pronunciation skills. Or this could be an image. Maybe you teach art history and you have a picture of a painting by Monet and you want the students to discuss how Monet uses brush strokes to elicit emotion, right? Whatever it is that you want to ask, whether it's short answer or essay, you can have them answer them. Now, let's say you teach a business class and you want students to analyze a chart or a graph and explain why revenue was lower in the fourth quarter than it is in the second quarter, right? Anything that you want. In this case, this is a language example. So this teacher created a 22-question oral exam, and she recorded all of her questions via webcam. So this is something that could work for any language class, right? She could be asking these questions in French or Japanese or Mandarin or whatever it is that she may teach. But this could also be for any other subject, really, right? All she's doing is asking a question and getting an answer. So this could be a philosophy teacher. And maybe she's asking, what's the difference between Kant and Hume and their views on existentialism? In this case, it happens to be an ESL class.
Good morning. My name is Rashada Cody. What's your full name? What shall I call you?
Hi, my name is Basma Hazim Sultan, and you can call me Basma.
All right, so the teacher can respond. You can record private replies. If you click on the lock icon, you can record private feedback to the student right on the VoiceThread. All right, now this is the final example that I want to show you. This is the create assignment. So I can do this if I click add an activity or resource, click on VoiceThread. The student presentations week 5, set the points as 100. I go to select content, click on the assignment builder, and I'm going to choose the create assignment this time. All right, now the students are going to create the VoiceThread, but I get to decide on their playback settings. So how many comments do they have to make? Well, let's say a minimum of 1. And maybe I don't want any more than 15 slides in their presentation. So I'm going to set this as a maximum of 15. And then I can decide which comment types, all of the rest. All right, and at the very bottom, there's a new one, the student gallery. So let's say I want my students to submit their VoiceThread for me to review for a grade, but I also want them to submit it someplace where all of their classmates can see it. I can have that happen automatically just by checking this box for student gallery. And I'll show you what this looks like from the student perspective in a minute. I click continue. I can add my instructions. So I'll just type the word instructions here. You can see where it shows up for the student. I'm going to pick a start date and a due date. And then how am I going to grade this on a scale of 1 to 100? And I publish. All right, once again, that brings me back here where I can save and return to the course. All right, so a few examples. Obviously, students can create a presentation just like you would create, right, where they upload a PDF and they record narration over it. But they can also do stuff like this, where they demonstrate a skill. So maybe you teach music and you want students to improvise on their jazz guitar in Lydian mode, to a backing track and record themselves. Or maybe they're recording themselves giving a speech or whatever it may be. In this case, it happens to be a nurse practitioner who is demonstrating a head-to-toe exam.
Hi, my name is Shantae, and I'm a nurse practitioner student at Maryville University. Today, I will be performing my head-to-toe assessment on my volunteer, Deja. Before coming in, she emptied her bladder. She was offered a gown. Her height and weight were measured. A full set of vital signs were taken. We did her near and far vision testing with both the Rosenbaum and Snellen chart. I watched her gait while she walked in, and everything was normal. And I washed my hands before entering the room. Okay, so we're going to start with the head and face. And inspection of the skin has no obvious rashes or lesions. Her eyes are symmetrical, and palpating the scalp. The skull has no obvious bulges or nodules and is normal cephalic. Checking her hair. She has free movement of the scalp, and her hair is nice and thick with no alopecia or no thinning or baldness noted. Just looking at her facial bones. We're palpating for any tenderness or soreness. Do you feel any tenderness or soreness, Deja? We'll check the frontal and maxillary sinuses. Did you feel any pressure? And that is normal. Pressure will be signs of fluid buildup or sinus problems. Now I'm going to ask you to do a series of facial movements. So we're just going to check a bunch of cranial nerves. So if you could clench your teeth, move your jaw left.
All right, so I'm going to stop her there. But as the instructor, you can click on the plus sign, record feedback, continue to play, and the student can engage back with you. All right, now here's the final example that I want to show you. And this is one where the student had to upload a paper, right? So this is something you can use for graphic design or any writing that you have. I'm going to zoom in once again so we can get a little better view here. And just think about the feedback this teacher's giving, and think about how much richer and deeper this is than if she would have just put like a sticky note in the margin that tells the student to add a paragraph or something like that.
Okay, you've attempted to talk about something really awesome here, okay, but you are kind of losing me because you're not introducing this particular idea. So, this concept of the banking concept failing to acknowledge men and women as historical beings. This is a really interesting twist in your argument, and what you need to do is put a quote in directly from the text and explain it so that you're introducing this idea of human beings existing within a historical matrix of some sense, in some sense. Okay, so by introducing.
All right, so I'm going to stop her there, but you can see how she uses that doodle pencil to annotate on the document as she talks through it. All right, now I want to show you what it looks like from the student perspective. So I actually have a different Moodle course that I'll show you, but it's the same process. All right, the student comes into the course, they click on that link, and it's going to load their submission interface here. All right, so the student can see the technical requirements, when it's due, how it's graded. When they're ready, they click Start Assignment. And these are the same options that you saw on the homepage. The icons are different, but the features are the same. The student can add files from their computer, record from their webcam, etc. So I'm going to add files from my computer. And let's say I'm going to pick these. They're going to start to upload and process, and I'll get a success message as soon as they're ready. All right, and then the student can continue to record. All right, and they can point out whatever it is they need to point out as they go through their presentation. When they're done, they stop and they save. All right, and once that processes, they can submit this assignment. All right, now because I allowed for resubmission, let's say the student looks and they realize they forgot to add a slide with their sources. So what they're going to do is click Withdraw Submission. They can go back, make any changes that they need, and then resubmit. All right, now they can also go into the student gallery to see their classmates' work. So all they have to do is click on that student gallery button. It will load the gallery in a new tab. All right, and the student can go through. So you can see I'm the only one to submit this assignment right now, but once my classmates start to add theirs, they will show up on this page, and the students can view each other's threads and comment on them. All right, now I'm just going to log back in as the instructor. So just give me 1 second to do that. All right, and I'll show you how to grade this. So once again, anything you want to do with the assignment happens through this link. All right, because of that copy, that's where the copy lives, in the link. So you click on the link and you will see the grading interface. So I will see all of the students that haven't attempted. I can remind them. If I click Remind Students, I can edit the subject and the message here. Even get a copy of this message sent to me if I want. Click Send Message, and that will get sent to all of those students. All right, for those that have submitted, I can just click on their name. It will load their presentation. I can review it. I can record feedback. If I want to record it privately, I can do that as well. And I can enter their grade. I click Save Grade. That grade will go right into the Moodle gradebook, and the student will bounce from the ungraded list into the graded list. All right, that is everything I had planned to show you today. Do we have other questions? Is there anything else that you want to see? Is there anything that I showed you that you aren't sure about right now? You can always feel free to unmute your mic and jump in. All right, so Katie's asking about rubrics. The integration does not connect to any rubric feature for Moodle. You could upload, a PDF of a rubric to a VoiceThread as a slide to show students what the rubric is and discuss it, but it doesn't interact with the grading interface. You can't add a slide in the middle of a comment, but you can always add slides to the VoiceThread even after you've shared it with the class, and then you can record. All right. So Star, all of the access for you would be through Moodle. Technically, there is a way to get into your account outside of Moodle, but all of these features are specific to the integration. So if you just wanted to go into your account to check without going into a course, you can go to voicethread.com. And because of the integration, you don't actually have a password. Your account is all single sign-on through Moodle, but you can click on the reset password button and get an email, and then you can choose a password, and then you can log in directly at voicethread.com. But I wouldn't let the students know about that because it could cause confusion, because they won't be accessing their account through your ASU license, which is part of the integration. Gotcha. Yeah. So for that, you can certainly do that. If the faculty members have VoiceThread accounts already, you can just add them to a group, and you can share with them directly using VoiceThread sharing features, and you can all engage in discussion for professional development. Well, I don't see any other questions right now, so I think we may be done for the day. But I am recording this, so I'm going to send this recording to Emery as soon as we're done. And I don't know if he's going to post it or share it somewhere, but you can check with him. And I just want to thank you all for joining me today. I hope you picked up some good tips and got some ideas about how you can use VoiceThread. And I hope you have a great rest of your semester and a great rest of your week. And happy voice threading, everyone. Take care.